So let's talk about being a fullback for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that don't really happen anymore.
Well, actually, there's a few guys, and so I'm fortunate. So I work for Legends Community, and my boss Tracy Pearlman, and my main boss Roger Goodell is the other way. He's actually on the stage right now, on the Fanatic stage, and then and Tracy Pearlman. So interesting enough, working for the NFL, I get a chance to do a lot of mentorship. So we go down to the combine, and I get a chance to work with me and Warwick Dunn. We get a chance to work with the running backs and fullbacks. Generally, there's one fullback at the combine. So one of my great mentor stories was I got a chance to meet Alec Ingold, and I had him at the Senior Bowl, and he was like, "Hey man, do you think I can play?" I was like, "Dude, absolutely." And then from the Senior Bowl, I saw him at the combine, and then from the combine, he ended up going to the Raiders. Now he's the highest paid fullback with the Miami Dolphins. And so I built those relationships. So we have C.J. Ham. He's down in Minnesota.
Juszczyk?
Yeah, Juszczyk. I talked to Juszczyk. So and then you got the veteran Ram up there in Baltimore. So there's a few guys that are still out there. It's just, everyone's like right now, if I was currently playing, I don't know if I'd be in the National Football League, because if I was with the Chiefs, there's no fullback. Like they have Tyreek Hill in the backfield, obviously not there anymore, but they run a spread offense and everything's moving. So the position itself is it's starting to come back. I guess when the weather changes, that's when they start putting fullback.
That's when they re-sign him in the winter?
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
it's below 60. Let's sign us a fullback.
All they do is it's like, look, during the season, we just want you to sit in the house and just eat meat all day long. And then when it starts to get cold outside, we're going to bring you out like a polar bear and put you out there and just be a battering ram and go hit people.
What about, it seems too like fullbacks, much like tight ends, have to be a bit more utility-esque.
No doubt.
They're not just straightforward in the gap, take out the linebacker. Like they've also, Juszczyk's a great example of that. Could you catch?
It's funny enough, I think I caught the ball pretty well, but it's one of those things I think is just as far as the route running. Like there was times where we'd motion myself out the backfield and then I'd run like a 9 route. But nowadays, you got like Juszczyk, he's running routes. Like he's running corner routes, he's running comebacks, he had one in the Super Bowl, he came back and caught him. Like, man, I didn't have those type of hands, but with anything, I guess if I was asked to do that, and obviously to keep your job, if you're asked to do that, you're gonna do it. But and that's the thing now, it's funny because I do all these football camps with some of my buddies who are running camps and some of my own, and I'm like, okay, where's the running backs? We'll get 3 running backs and 40 wide receivers. But you got to think about it, like the shelf life for running backs is 3 years. Wide receivers are making $35 million a year. So parents are like, no, you're not playing running back. They're going to get you out of here. So it's interesting. So now what we do is we put the running backs and the wide receivers, we put them together, because in order to play running back in this league, you have to be able to run routes. The pass protection part is one thing I think that's kind of lost our game, because you couldn't play running back in the league if you couldn't pick up the blitz. Well, nowadays there's no blitz because if they are blitzing, the linebackers are 185 pounds just because they got to cover running backs out of the backfield. But I guess if I had to, I would be able to adjust and catch the ball.
How special when they called your number to get that goal line carry?
That it happened, but it's funny. When some years before Priest Holmes came to Kansas City, I was a feature back. So I got the ball quite a bit, and then all of a sudden, Priest showed up, and it was like, "No, you're going back to putting your hand." It's like you're going to put your hand back in the dirt. But it was always special, man. And great thing for me is like, of all the years I played, I've always played with an incredible offensive line. I mean, you think about playing in Kansas City. I had Hall of Famer Will Shields. I had Willie Roaf. I had Brian Waters. Then I go to Minnesota. I got Steve Hutchinson. Brian McKinney. Then I come to the Jets, and I got Faneca, I got DeBrickashaw, I got Mangold. So every place I played with some great offensive linemen, which made my job that much easier. So for a fullback, me getting the ball is just like a guard getting the ball, so they cheer me on. So I'm like, I get the ball like maybe 5 times a season, so it's all fun, it's all good.
What about playing, if let's say today you're coming up, would you have been a tight end?
I probably would have had to been. I probably would have had to be someone like a Dallas Clark, just because, now I've lost I'm down to about, I weigh myself today, I'm like 223. I played about 242. So I've lost a tremendous amount of weight, but I would probably have to be that hybrid type of guy, like a Dallas Clark. Not saying I have nowhere hands like him, but maybe a guy that body type that could run routes out of the backfield and catch the ball, but also line up and block as well.
How does your body feel after being so? I mean, dude, you plowed through a lot of lines. Like, how does it feel today?
You know, I can tell you I feel pretty good now, but when I was going through my line of duty, when I was trying to get all my benefits, I was horrible. I was like,
oh, everything hurts.
I was like, should I show up in a wheelchair and a neck brace? But no, funny enough, so I work out every day. I still lift weights. I'm big into yoga. Funny enough, when I got to the Dallas Cowboys in 1994, like I was pretty fast out of college, and our tight end Novacek actually said, he's like, T-Rich, straight ahead, you're incredible. But if you make a left or right, you're going to blow your hip out. So he got me started to do, I started with Taekwondo, and I started just getting loose. And then all of a sudden I got to Kansas City, and my buddy introduced me to Bikram Yoga. And I think that's what really helped me play 17 years, because I never had any knee injuries, knock on wood. I don't know if this is real wood.
Is Bikram
It's all right.
the hot yoga? Is Bikram hot yoga?
Hot yoga.
Yeah. I've done that.
But it's great because, like, and I tell the young guys now, because even at the combine, they do flexibility tests. And they do it because if you get your foot stuck in the ground, one of the three things they're going to give. Your ankle's going to pop, your knee joint, or your hip. And if you're flexible, like, I mean, right now I'm not going to do it because I got these Lululemon pants on, but I can do a split. I can do a split, but if you get into I can do a split. If you get into an awkward position, because that's generally when people, knees or whatever, because it's like they get their foot caught on the ground and they have tight hips or different things like that. So I think the key for my success was flexibility, but that's one thing. Like, my body feels great. I have, knock on wood, no pain. Don't tell the doctors that.
Nah, they're not listening.
They're like, I get my buddies. I'm like, man, make sure you do all your medical stuff. And they're like, man, can I play basketball? I said, well, don't go in there and just say I just shot 14 games of full press. I said, but afterwards, because you got to still live your life. But, when you start filling out your paperwork, you got to be like, man, my neck hurt.
Everything that might hurt gets listed.
My neck and my back.
Final question for you, and you're known so much for giving back, even working with a lot of the young guys. Somebody just coming into the league, coming from a small to a mid-sized school, right? Let's say they weren't in Alabama or in Ohio State. Like, what is your advice to these guys where, I mean, is it so much the speed, physically, is it the speed, and then also like real personal life stuff? Like, what do you work with these kids on? Yeah, the biggest thing, and that's a very good question, because a lot of parents always come to me and they're like, okay, my kid's getting recruited, potentially he can go to Ohio State, and he's probably going to, like right now, if you go to Alabama, chances are you probably, unless you're like a 5-star times 10, you're probably not going to play until your junior, possibly senior year. But one of those things, like now, the way tape is spread, the way the internet and everything else, my biggest thing is just, first of all, getting your foot in the door. And then when you get your foot in the door, it's just about going to work. Because I came out of Auburn, which was, we went undefeated. We were 11-0. And I was undrafted to the Dallas Cowboys. And so basically, if you're undrafted, you're on the practice squad, my main job was to make sure Emmitt Smith's helmet didn't touch the ground, Daryl Johnson had water. That was just part of my role, but I accepted it. And so the biggest thing, like my dad said, he served our country for 32 years, and he would say, son, there's a reason why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So sometimes it's okay just to be quiet. He didn't say that. He would say other words, but to basically shut up and listen. And so I took that role, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do everything I can to show my value and to show my worth, and I just bust my butt every single day, understanding that things happen and everything's always not going to work in your favor, but if you continue to work hard and good things that happen. But once you get your foot in the door, understanding every single year I was in the National Football League, they brought someone in or they drafted someone to beat me out every single year. So never rest on your laurels. Like, if you make the team your second year, and you're like, okay, now I made it, I stopped working hard, guess what? There's a young kid in college right now who will come take your job. And so that's the biggest thing that's the biggest advice I give guys is that, I can't run. I used to be able to run fast, but, I might not be able to run a 4.3, but no one's going to be able to outwork me. And that's the biggest thing that I think carries over into life. You guys are supposed to talk to me about flag football. We didn't even talk about flag football. We ain't got there yet.
Oh, okay. You said last question?
Next question is.
Last question, about my personal,
Okay.
Yeah. No, we get the real stuff coming up too,
okay.
but we got selfish questions. We do selfish first.
I love this show. I like it.
It's us first.
Yeah.
So
get my stuff out of the way, and we'll talk about why you're here. Yeah. I just saw Michael Rubin walk by. Did you guys see him?
He came by, hung out earlier.
Yeah, that's why I kind of did a double take. I was like, oh, there he is.
And he's I was talking with him, and I couldn't stop thinking he's worth billions.
Oh yeah, just a billion.
Just billions. Yeah. I will see the commercials
about who's walking through here. We get a chance to see.
We identifying it?
Looks like Baker. Nope. Who is?
We're trying to find.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know. Oh, I think that's
I don't even see who the person.
I just see a group
Who
of
is
people
it?
walking.
It's a streamer.
yeah.
Oh,
I don't stream.
We stream.
Yeah.
And nobody's doing it to us.
Oh, is that the kid that plays the video games?
He's play,
That
vi-
the-
play
oh
video
yeah,
games?
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Flag football.
Yeah. Flag football. Yep.
I see the commercials about during the games about flag
Yeah,
and
sure.
the growth of the sport, and it's also in the Olympics coming up in
No
4
doubt.
years.
Yep.
So how are those somewhat connected?
Yeah, actually it is. So I'm actually, so myself, Drew Brees, we're actually, Bobby Taylor, we're actually, I guess, spokespeople for flag football. And so, it's actually crazy thing about flag football. I just got back from London. Obviously, the Jets and Vikings are playing there. And I got a chance to, we hosted a flag football tournament for young girls. And it was Chicago Bears and the Jets. You should have seen these young women. Like, first of all, they're 2 years into the sport. But just to see their athleticism, to see their want to, and understanding that now these kids can get college scholarships to go play flag football, and also it's one of those things that it's not a male-dominated sport anymore. But yeah, as far as the Olympics, like me and Bobby, we had a chance to go down to the World Games, which is actually in Birmingham, Alabama, and you see these women out here competing, and they're getting down, they're getting after it. So to be able to see that women are actually now being able to get college scholarships, and also now it's an Olympic sport, I think it's pretty cool.
Would the goal be with especially female flag football?
Yeah.
Because they're with the Olympics 4 years is male and female,
Yep.
but it's also 5-on-5, like Olympic-wise.
Yeah.
Is the goal to get universities to eventually have teams as well?
I think that's where it's headed, because because the Jets, I still do a lot of work with the Jets, and we actually sponsor like tackle football. So we have there's high school tackle football, there's high school flag, and now I think colleges will potentially, and I don't know if it's going to be 5-on-5, but there are leagues. I know colleges are starting to, I guess not necessarily D1, but maybe D2 or D3, where women can actually get college scholarships to play flag football.
And when I would play flag, when I was younger, I would
Yeah.
cheat and put it in my pockets.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's
mean
how,
like elementary school?
yeah, well, it didn't matter. Yeah,
can't-
whenever. I would just cheat. I
I
kind of put
didn't
in.
even know there was a rule though where you can't. I guess you can't. It's called flag guarding.
I would do that. I would guard my flag. I would cover
Yeah,
my
you just
arms.
do like this. Yeah.
Well, I would knot it up. That's what I would do.
But the cool thing is, like, these kids are so athletic now that they're running full speed and they'll drop down to like where their knee doesn't touch the ground, and that's legal. You drop down and they can't pull your flag, and then so they got these girls got skills. These women have skills.
If there are parents that are listening to this now and they have daughters who have an interest,
Yep.
where can they go to read more about what you're doing or learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, I think you just go to NFL.flag or NFL. I know if you go to the NFL website, there's always different posts or different things like that. But I know if you go to the NFL website, it's NFL.flag or flag.nfl.com.
We'll find it, put it in the notes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you do that, actually, because there are so many opportunities, not only just for.
It's NFLflag.com.
There we go.
Boom, we got it.
NFLflag.com. I knew it was one of those. But yeah, so that's a beautiful thing too, and it's a great entry for men and women, just because we're boys and girls. Because I know a lot of times parents always say, well, what age should I start my child playing tackle football? And I said, well, if you're kind of concerned about that, then start with flag.
Yeah.
And and that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I grew up in Germany, so my first time really playing organized football was my 10th grade year in high school. But I did play soccer, and just having the versatility of playing different sports, I think, helped me as I started to really get into, really tackle football. So I think if young people start playing flag at an early age, because, it's every athletic movement that you're going to make in any sport, because in basketball you got to jump, in flag you're jumping, you got to make people miss, and all those kind of things. And so I think the game of flag is really it's really helping our game, because at one time, obviously, when you see injuries and things of that nature, and then parents are like, is the game of football safe? And the game of football is very safe, and I think a great entryway is through flag.
No fullbacks in flag.
Nah, there's no. Listen, you guys are trying to run me out of here. There's no flag. There's no fullbacks in tackle football anymore.
We're done.
Well,
Yeah,
my
we're
question
done.
was going to be, is it cyclical? Someone again will adopt like the wing T triple option, because everything that's old is new is old again.
Yeah.
So we're spread. We're McDaniels in Miami, but
Yeah.
we're Andy Reid.
Yeah.
But when we see two fullbacks on the field,
I
that's
think
when
so.
we know.
Well, the thing about it is, and that's what I love about Mike McDaniel, because they use their fullback all the time. Now, granted, he does. I'm like, Alec, dude, y'all don't even know how you keep your weight up, because they have him running. But the thing about it is, like, they use a fullback almost 60 to 70% of the offensive snaps. So I don't know if we're gonna get a full, because, you know, I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get a fullback in flag, but yeah, don't start throwing stuff out. You're trying to get me a limit. I'm gonna have kids one day. They're gonna be like, Dad, what was a fullback? I'm saying, hey, listen, a fullback was like a dinosaur.
What was a fullback?
It was like a dinosaur. Maybe they existed, maybe they didn't. So we'll see.
We really appreciate the time. It's an honor to meet you.
I'm glad we got a chance to
Got
talk
all the
about flag.
selfish questions out first.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it.
Hey, I really appreciate it.